Hey guys, Zach here at eTrailer.com. Today we're going to be taking a look at the MaxTow MaxHaul hand crank winch. I'm putting it on this boat trailer here today. This one had an old beat up winch on it. You know, the strap was messed up, the handle was messed up, everything just wasn't really working that well. So this is going to be a really cost-effective way of getting a winch back on your trailer. So let's take a closer look here at how it all works. This winch isn't going to be super fancy. There's not going to be a whole lot to it. It's going to be just about like any winch that you've seen out there. It's going to be able to get your boat back on your trailer. I think it's also going to work out well if you've got like a disabled ATV. You just want something that's affordable to put on your trailer to help secure stuff down. I like that it's got a nice yellow zinc coating on it. It's going to help hold up against rust and corrosion, especially on a boat trailer like this. We're going to get it. It's going to get wet. The strap's going to get wet. It's going to bring it back on here. Speaking of that strap, this is going to be a 20-foot strap. It's a nice polyester material that's going to hold up well. It's got like a seat belt feel to it. I'll release that out here, take some of that tension off. We can take a closer look. I like that here where it's doubled back through our hook. I think it's got really nice stitching on there. I think that's going to do a good job of holding up well. If we take a closer look at our hook here, it doesn't have the widest opening there, so you know you're not going to probably have any issues with smaller boats like this. You know, it's a little tight there, but it's not too bad. You got smooth operation. That gate's pretty smooth. This is going to be a nice zinc coating as well. This is overall going to have a 1,200 pound capacity on it. So you want to make sure you're not exceeding that whenever you're getting your boat back up on your trailer. You know, the water is going to take a lot of that pressure off, and you're really just bringing this in a little bit closer than, or finishing it off after you've already got it on your trailer. So you see it's got pretty good ratcheting mechanism there. When it comes to letting the tension off of this and letting that out, I like that it has this nice handle. Some of them are going to have like a smaller latch. And what you do is you just take a little pressure off that and you can pull that out and it lets go of those teeth in that gear and just slowly let that out. And then once you get that back connected, we can just engage that by pulling that back and engaging with those teeth on those gears. And it holds it in place. Something I do like is this lever here, and what that does is that allows it to go into free spool mode. Some other winches are going to have just like a small little latch there. So what you do is you take a little bit of pressure off that, and then you just release that by pulling that back, and that lets it go into free spool mode. So that's going to allow this to just take some of that tension off there, and then we could let our boat back slowly, and then to bring it back in we pull out and then push it in so it engages with that gear, and then we just get it tightened down. And when it comes to, you know, using that winch, I like the handle on it here. It's got pretty good length on it. I can get a full hands grip on it, and on the end of the handle it has this nice plastic cover on it, and it spins. So that's pretty hard plastic. I don't think you're going to have any problems really with that breaking or anything. But when it spins, whether you're in free spool mode or you're bringing your boat back on your trailer, you can see how it rotates there. That makes it way easier instead of the other style that, you know, maybe has like a rubber coating on it. And it just makes it quite a bit more ergonomic whenever you're rotating that. It's like very little effort in getting that ratchet down. So I think that's a pretty nice design. And you can see here with that 20 feet of strap, I have this unspooled all the way. That's going to give us plenty of reach whenever we're trying to hook up to our boat. Now I'm going to give you a couple measurements to help you understand if this is going to work out for you. Something we had a problem with was our jack here. It was a little too close. I didn't want to scoot it up too close because we have a little bit of wiring underneath there towards the front. But it's going to fit just fine now. So I'm going to give you a measurement from the furthest out point of this handle to the center of where it's rotating, and that is 8 3/4 of an inch. So you want to keep that. You want to make sure that you're going to have that much room whenever you're rotating this around. And then overall, it's going to stick out It's going to stick out 8.5 inches from the base of where the handle mounts onto the winch. It's not completely universal, but it's pretty close. So I'll give you a couple measurements on the center of these points. The center of this hole right here to this one is going to be 4.5 inches, and the center of these two outer holes here on the bottom are going to be 2 inches. And the overall length of this elongated hole here is going to be 1 9/16 of an inch, and that allows you to kind of adjust it a little bit to mount up with this hole. But overall, I've been pretty happy with the way this works. I wasn't expecting it to be anything super over the top fancy by any means, but I was a little surprised at how well it functions. Everything seems to kind of click into place whenever I change it to free spool and then back into the ratcheting mechanism. Installation isn't too challenging. It's right in par with most winches that you're going to put on place. They're a little awkward, but you're only doing it once. So let's go ahead and let's walk you through how we got this one put on. To begin our installation, we already have our other winch removed. I'm going to use some new hardware. The hardware on our existing one didn't quite fit in here. It was a little long. So I'm using some grade 5 bolts. I'm going to use a washer and a lock nut on it. And I'm going to drop that right down into place. It's going to line up just fine with our trailer. On the bottom side, I'm going to put a washer and a lock nut. Now this hardware is not included. You can just pick some up at your local hardware store. So it's a bit of a tight fit on the other side, so I'm going to put this in the free spool mode to take some of that space out of there. We'll get our strap spooled out all the way. And that frees up quite a bit of space there to give me some room to work. Get that lined up. I'll put that in there the same way. Then we can go through and we can tighten this up. It's a little awkward. So this thing's kind of awkward to tighten down. I can't really get a socket in on top, and I can't fit a wrench in there proper. Get that tightened down, and we'll kind of repeat the same process. It's going to be kind of weird up there, but it's definitely doable. You're only putting this on once, so it's going to be a pain in the butt for a minute, but once you get it on, you're going to get a lot of good use out of it. So I'll continue to tighten that down. So now we can get our handle put in place. It's going to have this bolt and nut that you'll remove out of there. It's a little guy, so be careful you don't lose it. We'll get that lined up. Put that lock nut on the back side. This one might be kind of challenging to find the small enough tools to get it, but I think most people are going to have at least part of this little set. So I've got a 7mm socket and a 7/64 Allen key, and I am going to get that secured in place. Doesn't need to be super tight. If you got a smaller wrench there, it might be a little bit easier. Get that snug. You don't need to over tighten it. So once we get that handle back in place, I'll latch that to get into so it locks in with that mechanism. We'll get this spooled up all the way. Kind of keep some tension on it so it goes in there nice and tight. Get that hook in place. Finish cranking that down. Then we're ready to go. I think this is going to be a really nice, cost-effective way. If you had an old, rusted, beat-up winch that wasn't working anymore, this is going to be a great solution for that. That's going to do it for our look at the MaxTow Max Haul hand crank winch.